Guys, we are back, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the Grand Prix and a little bit about the jumping contest turned Team Tutberidze meme and all the little intricacies that you might not have noticed. So to round up the end competitions, the last 4 competitions of the Grand Prix, we had Grand Prix de France, the John Wilson Trophy, NHK Trophy, and the Finlandia Grand Prix. And as you all know, I'm only interested in men's and ladies because the pairs and dance is just not something that has been gripping me this season. Pairs is basically dead. In dance, it'll be one of the Marie-France teams or not. Not really attached to either one of them. Just Fear and Gibson. So, Grand Prix de France, we had as a winner a Frenchman, Adam Xiao-Him-Fa, who I thought I didn't know, but then I googled his name and I saw that he had that Star Wars program and I was like, okay, fun. And that's basically all I had to say. Sota Yamamoto got 2nd place and then Kazuki Tomono. So Japan, France. In the ladies, we had Luna Hendricks, Yelim King, and someone who I'm not familiar with, Beyond Sumiyoshi. Again, Japan has so much depth and they're all really freaking good. Grand Prix de France was to me the most lackluster of all the Grand Prix. Then we go to the MK John Wilson Trophy, basically the British Grand Prix, and here we have a moment for Daniel Grasso, the Italian, who I believe is now the first Italian man to ever win a Grand Prix, or at least this season. I think it is ever, which was a great moment for him. Love those moments where you can see the skater just have a genuine reaction of just shock and happiness at their own score. Daniel Grasso, if we can just get that one thing fixed, you know what I'm talking about, that one thing, I will cheer for him to the ends of the earth. Dennis actually got 2nd, which is good because he has not been performing too well this season. And then in 3rd place, we had the Japanese Shun Sato. For the ladies, this was actually kind of interesting for me. In 1st place, we had Mai Mihara, who again, Japanese skaters, men and women, are at the top of their game, but I did not have Mai Mihara in my peripheral even. I had kind of forgotten about her. I didn't know that she was training this season even because I just hadn't seen her. And she just came, showed up, and freaking won. In 2nd place, we had Isabel Levito, who again is the US pick for everything this year. So I'm surprised that she didn't do better in this competition, but Mai Mihara deserved the win in my opinion. Isabeau, I think we all know the shortcomings as always, the speed, the jumps. They just need to be a little bit more perfected so that we can count on her to always be in contention for 1st. But even here, she was in contention for 1st and she podiumed, so she did her job. And in 3rd place, we have Anastasia Kubanova. Then we have NHK Trophy. We have number 1, of course, the man, the only one possible for NHK, Shoma Uno. NHK always used to be everybody's favorite Grand Prix stage because Yuzuru Hanyu used to just show up and show out. And although Yuzuru Hanyu was not here, Shoma Uno did just that. Shoma Uno to me is just his moment, it's his season. Did scare me to see the fact that the stadium in Japan was not full to the brim. It was like only one section, and I hope that's because of some COVID regulation and not because Yuzuru Hanyu left the sport and all his fans have left with him. Japan, we need you to keep the sport alive, please. In 2nd place, we had Sota Yamamoto, who's kind of having a moment in these last 3 stages we've talked about. Like, he's really been consistently on the podium. And then we have my baby, Jun Hwa-cha, who I have just kind of accepted that my dream of him being the rival to Shoma Uno, the world star, the consistent favorite, is not going to happen. Jun Hwa-cha has always and will always be a chaotic baby, unpredictable child, but I love him nonetheless. For the ladies, this was very interesting. Number 1, Korean Yelim Kim, who has been consistent and silent. The dark horse, honestly, because Yelim Kim, I did not expect to beat Kaori, because Kaori is the Shoma of the season. She is the girl. She is the moment. And for her to fall behind just by a few points was still unexpected for me. So bravo to Yelim Kim. I still don't believe I've been sold onto your programs, but you had a beautiful coming out in this stage. 2nd place, shockingly to me, Kaori Sakamoto. I think it was the short program. I don't know if it was just me, but she looked slower and you could tell she was not satisfied at the end of the program. She could tell that she wished she could do more. As long as it's not related to injury, I am okay with her doing just fine. And again, it's 2nd place. It's not like she failed. Kaori Sakamoto, it is still your moment. And then in 3rd place, Rion Sumiyoshi. Again, still not familiar, but I'm excited to see what's coming from her. And finally, we have Finlandia Trophy. It's supposed to be called the GP Expo, but we all call it Finlandia Trophy. In first place, the American Ilya Malinin, which, by the way, my TikTok about Ilya Malinin has low-key gone viral, like 5 million views, maybe 6 million by the time I'm posting this shit. I am confused. I don't know if it's because of the thumbnail, which I tried to change multiple times because I knew people were gonna be like, why are you using Yuzuru as a thumbnail? Clout, clickbait. Not clickbait because I do talk about Yuzuru, but I did try to change it. YouTube wouldn't let me change it. Now I'm happy it didn't let me change it because 6 million views. So Ilya, thank you, and Yuzuru, thank you. Then we had Shun Sato, who not too familiar with him, but beautiful skater. And in third place, Kevin Amos, who... If you really want to talk about chaotic babies, Kevin Amos is the one. If you want to be panicked at all times, follow Kevin Amos for unpredictability and excitability at the same time. For the ladies, we had Mai Mihara, who again came out of nowhere, didn't even remember that she was competing this season. Second place, Luna Hendricks, everybody's fan favorite. And in third place, Mana Kawabe, slow and consistent. She's kind of like slow and steady that we never really take into consideration, but she always ends up on the podium. So shout out to Mana Kawabe. So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm covering all these stages on one, because it's been too long, and two, because I didn't find them as exciting as the beginning. The beginning half, I was really into it. Second half, I kind of let it go because the middle stages were really not of interest to me. Grand Prix de France kind of made me lose all interest in the Grand Prix, and then I had to come back. And the last two really picked it back up. Now, I did want to touch on the jumping competition. I wasn't going to talk about it at all, but the meme of the moment, which is Team Tutberidze, for whatever reason being angry at Sofia Kateeva for doing 4 back-to-back jumps instead of the 5 that they wanted, has become a meme all throughout figure skating Twitter and has caught my attention. And therefore, we're just going to have to talk about this competition because there are a few things that I think need to be noted, not just this meme moment. Well, first thing is that the Channel 1 trophy is back to haunt us. If you don't know what that is, it is a tradition that began in the pandemic. I believe that is right. It was initially used as just more Medvedeva versus Sagitova propaganda, and the 2 original teams were just blue versus red, Alina being the red machine and Evgenia being the blue like spacemen's. And it was very, very fun and very entertaining in 2020. It was not so much so in 2021. And now they've revamped it and made it 3 teams. And they've decided to divide it in the best way possible, which is by the 3 big camps in Russian figure skating. The big 3, if you will. And if you want to know more about different camps in Russia involving figure skating, watch my beginner's guide to the different camps within Russian figure skating. And I will also put the 2 videos where I covered the first original 2020 pandemic Channel 1 Trophy Cup. This year, like we said, it is a little bit different. They divided into 3 teams using the basis of one being Team Tutberidze, Team Red, Team Angel Zaplushenko, Team White, of course, and Team Professor Mission, Team Blue. If you don't know who Professor Mission is, watch that video. Which, can we just talk about the fact that all 3 of their pictures were literally generated by that AI trend? Like, what the hell was that? What was that? Also, what the hell was going on with Mikhail Koleda's hair and mustache? I can't go past it. We need to talk about it. What is it? Take it off. Remove it. Alina Sagitova was hosting again. Medvedeva was not there. And if you noticed, no other big names were either there. Alexandra Trusova, of course, was missing. And as you all know, watch the past video to figure it out. Alexandra Trusova is beefing with Channel 1 directly. She covered her patch. She refused an interview. And Channel 1 host was caught saying that Alexandra Trusova is basically over for Channel 1. Thank you for the people who left those translations in the comments of my last video. Essentially, the politics behind Channel 1 were exposed and showed that they're now against Alexandra Trusova because she's left Team Tutberidze, or maybe because of some other reason, but most probably because she's left Team Tutberidze, and the fans were angry. And it was my belief that she's a fan favorite because she is a fan favorite globally. But my Russian fellow fans who watch have told me that in Russia, the media and the fans have turned very nasty to Alexandra Trusova, that her comments are flooded with negative hate, and that every sports reel or every media channel that covers Alexandra Trusova now has a lot of hate. So the typical treatment that we see from the girls who defect from the Team Tutberidze camp is being given now to Alexandra Trusova, and that's somehow extended to Channel 1. And that all began because of a hot mic where Maxim Trankov essentially confirmed to his other commentator that yes, Channel One's relationship with Alexandra Trusova is essentially over, and therefore they're not going to cover her as favorably. After that, Alexandra Trusova covered her Channel One patch and Channel One sponsorship with a patch, and ever since then, tensions have been high, to the point where they didn't even show her coach in the Kiss and Cry. Notably, her coach, though, Svetlana Sokolskaya, was at this competition because she was there to support Sofia Samodelkina, who was in Professor Mission's camp. It was also very interesting how they decided to divide these three camps, because it was, of course, by actual camp, like all the Tutberidze girls were with Tutberidze, all the Angels of Pushenko were with the Angels of Pushenko, and of course, Elizaveta Tuktamisheva and the other Professor Mission skaters were with him. But there were also some mixed and matched, like for example, the Svetlana skaters were with Professor Mission. Alexandra Trusova and her boyfriend were not present because of the tensions with Channel One, but seeing that they put her kind of in the neutral territory is very, very telling. Now let's talk about this meme moment. What happened is that at this jump competition, they essentially just kind of do jumps. First is just if they can execute the jump, then it's how many jumps. I don't really know the criteria. They just do a bunch of jumps, and the point system also is kind of superfluous. Doesn't mean anything. It's like, whose line is it anyway? The points mean nothing. And so Sofia Gatieva goes out, does this amazing 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back jump sequence, and all of Team Tutberidze is just looking at her like, what the hell? What do you mean you just did 4 jumps back to back to back to back? 4? I don't know if they were asking for 5, I don't know if they were asking for 6, but 4 was not it. And they just all look so disappointed. And what's creepy to me is that when they replay the sequence, in slow motion, you can hear the crowd laughing at Tutberidze's slow motion, angry face at Akatieva. And when they cut back to Team Tutberidze, they're also laughing. But little Sofia Akatieva is very much not laughing along with the crowd. And I just found that to be so sinister, because they find this to be so charming. Oh my God, look at her angry coach being angry at this girl because she cannot be superhuman. What? And the little girl is just not in on the joke. She is genuinely sad and disappointed that she angered her coach. And the fact that the crowd was kind of like laughing alongside the coaches at this sad moment, what to me was a sad moment, is insane. I don't know. I found it very, very kind of twisted, the way that the literal audience couldn't see how kind of messed up it was that we were blaming this little girl. Akatieva must be no more than like 13 years old or 14. And like, yeah, the 3 adults were justified in being like, oh, you freaking suck. They didn't say it, but they freaking acted it out. It was theatrical at the very least. Another thing that happened in this competition is that it was essentially kind of like the national debut of the new little star skater called Alisa, bear with me here, Voglasova. Alisa Voglasova. I'll put it on the screen. And she is a little jumping star. They were very much happy with her whenever she jumped. And it is very interesting that it feels like this is the new girl being pushed. Akatieva, who was supposed to be the heir after Kamila Valieva, who was supposed to be, the next shining star, is now getting the ice treatment, which we see repeatedly happen to skaters who have been done. They've finished using them. Maybe they realize that Akatieva is not going to be their star, since the possibility of her making an Olympics has gone from slim to basically none, considering the fact that Russia being in an Olympics is still up in the air, and Akatieva is only about a year, maybe year and a half away from 15. And so it seems like they've already moved on to the younger, the better, the next, the less injured, Alisa Doglasova. And she was very heavily featured, and I feel like this event was literally just to set her up as the new one to look out for. Yes, Adelia Petrosian is still there, but Adelia Petrosian is older. Adelia Petrosian has not been performing as well as she should to be the next big star. And Adelia Petrosian was not even there. Instead, they had this little tiny girl. And the way they were interacting with her, the way they were still smiling at her, the way that she was just heavily featured with the cameras. I mean, the veil is off. Channel One is essentially a machine that just helps Team Tutberidze with their empire. How do we know? Because they were literally unmasked 2 weeks ago when they were caught on mic saying that they're not gonna cover Alexandra Trusova favorably anymore because she's essentially over her Channel One. Why? Because she left Team Tutberidze. And now they're showcasing this little girl very, very favorably, which seems to me like it is hand in hand. Team Tutberidze says this is the next one. Channel One says this is the next one. It's a well-oiled machine. Team Tutberidze is a monopoly for a reason. Let's just say that. And Trusova literally just left. It's been less than 2 months since she left, and they've already have a little tiny blonde replacement. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's a little bit weird and again a little bit sinister, and I don't know what to make of it. Regarding the other teams, Team Mission is just there. He's funny with his reactions. Team Plushenko had a lot of boys who, again, I'm not sure if are truly under the Angels of Plushenko. I believe not, because there were familiar faces there, but Plushenko still has the ability to get some new young talent who might be able to rival Team Tutberidze, but will probably never overshine it because they have Channel 1 in their pocket and essentially the whole Russian Figure Skating Federation. And yeah, that's basically all I was going to talk about. The ending of the Grand Prix was slow, then back to good. The beginning was way better. I'm very excited for the final though, do not get me wrong. I am looking very much forward to it. And this jumping competition just kind of clarified what I already felt like I knew about Team Tutberidze and the Russian Federation. Essentially that they're all in Team Tutberidze's pocket, that it's all just to help this machine keep going, and they can do whatever they want. That's all this has revealed to me. Essentially that is that. It was just another little tea time, and let me know what you guys think about anything, whether it's last half of the Grand Prix, who are you looking forward to in terms of the Grand Prix final? Do you believe that Team Tutberidze is already replacing Alexandra Trusova with this little girl, Alisa Doglasova? Did you find that meme funny and then watch the video and find it sad like I did? Tell me everything. As always, shout out to Corina, Katie, Leslie, Natalia, and Timothy. Twitter, merch, and Patreon are all down below. Let me know if you guys want me to do a live. I'm thinking of doing a live and just kind of reading over interviews. The Anna Kosernaya interview. I think there's an Evgenia Medvedeva interview coming. The Anna Sherbakova interview. For sure, we gotta read together. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. And as always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.